All right, guys. Listen, I'm super fired up to introduce this call. I know we've got you guys want to text your team, get more people on here, but we are recording this, so we'll make it available somehow. I guess we'll have to figure out how to email it, the link. And but man, I'm excited to have this gentleman on the line. Some of you may not have even ever met him. Him and I we go back, man, 8 years, 9 years in another business, and he had massive success, in recruiting and building massive teams. And even before that company, he did it again as somewhere else. So this guy's really successful at building teams, building relationships, and teaching. He's a professional trainer. He's done it all over the country. I mean, he's the top notch in everything he does, and become a great friend. We built a great relationship. So I'm excited for you guys to get a chance to meet him, at least on this webinar, and hopefully soon in person when we can gather again. But guys, take notes. Watch this again and again. This gentleman is massively successful. His team is almost 700, and by the end of the week, it probably be over 700 agents. I mean, I don't know if you understand that, but that is insane. 700 realtors are on his team across the globe now. Actually, he's international. He's got a global real estate organization, and just definitely super talented. I mean, his rev share is crazy, unbelievable. His stock is through the roof, as we were talking earlier. And I love Randy because he's like, hey, we've got, did you check this other place where you got stock? There's some stock there that's sitting that you might have probably another $50,000 or $60,000. And I'm like, I haven't looked at it, I haven't found it, but it's at least that, guys. I mean, that's the benefit of, getting in early. I mean, I have to just say, that's why I'm glad you guys are here now. But I'm going to turn it over to him. He's going to do some training. At the end, he did agree to answer some questions, that you guys might have. But this is a recruiting call. So for those of you who might be new and got on here, if you're not sure, this is not a building sales. This is strictly asking questions and learning about how to attract agents. Okay. And so he's going to go over that. I'm going to turn it to him because he's the master, man. And he's my mentor. Super excited about working with him. And Randy, I appreciate you. It's Randy Donnell out of Texas, San Antonio. Great, awesome guy. And I appreciate you for doing this, Randy. So I'll let you have the floor.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. And I can tell everybody on the call, when you and Kendra said yes, that definitely was a big impact for our business back then and continues today. Because every time I log in, I know y'all are bringing in agents across the nation and the world. I mean, and then how crazy it is that we can say that, is that we can bring agents in across the world, the globe. And so appreciate what you guys both do, and the inspiration you have for folks, as well as also the success that you're having, which has led to ours as well. So, but listen, me and Tony were talking, and he said that we've all had different times of training and all, and so he said, man, could you just trim it down and just tell these agents what to do, how to get rolling? And maybe some of you have been doing it, maybe some of you haven't been doing it as consistently as we should have all been doing it, right? We'd all be looking better if we would have had a handful more agents when the stock exploded. But I said, yeah, I mean, because the thing is that what I enjoy is I enjoy seeing duplication. And in this model, if you can duplicate, it doesn't take crazy amounts of money. I mean, or crazy amounts of numbers. I mean, I look at where we are, which we hit 685 today, and we should be at 700 probably by the end of next week. Is that the amount of money on the revenue share is crazy. And so even though my wife, Michelle, I'll brag on her, she'll do 10 million this year in sales, which is big. And she's chasing the icon agent. I spend a lot of my time on agent attraction. And so, my goal this evening is to kind of give you a format and a game plan that you can basically take in bite sizes and go do it. Because as we all know, action is where it is. I mean, action is where the money is. We can get caught up all the time on, well, I don't understand how to bring a team on. I don't understand this or that. But at the end of the day, you just got to start opening up the conversations, because EXP has enough people, whether it be from a three-way or corporate, that could end up helping you bring those agents or teams or what have you on. So we'll break it down. If it's cool with you guys, I'll just share with you what I do. And I don't do anything fancy. I mean, I've built teams, gosh, for the better part of 25 or 30 years, and have had decent success at it. And I'm very simple in regards to just my approach and just how I talk to people. And I'll even do a script. We could even do a role play, and I'll tell you exactly what I say every single time. I don't deviate, and it's worked. The last probably 90 days, we brought in personally 7 agents. And so we've been averaging about 2 agents per month, which is not as good as a lot of agents, and it's better than some. But we feel like, by the end of the year, we'll have 40 solid that are qualified, but we'll be around 65 to 70 agents total from our personal standpoint. So, sometimes it's just about being consistent. So first off, the number one thing that you have to have is you have to have agents to talk to. And so common sense tells you, where do you get those agents? Well, let's break it down. And you can jot these down. I mean, that I always work off of a list. And so then that way I can either, whether you're following up with them, whether digitally and you're putting information in, or you're doing it from an old standpoint, from cards or notes, you've got to put some notes in, because if you plan on talking to X amount of agents, they're going to start going all through your head, and you're not going to remember who or where they worked. And it just is easier if you stay organized from the front end. So the first agents that you could start talking to is, who do you know that's a real estate agent? That's whether it be family, friends, or folks that you used to work with at your old brokerage. I mean, whoever that, if you called them and said, hey, this is Randy, they go, oh, hey, what's going on? And you want to start with those people, because it's just an easier transition to share with them EXP, because that's what we're looking for, is permission to share the opportunity. So that's your first group of people, right? Then you've got agents that maybe you did deals with. I had an agent the other day, I challenged her because she does about $8 million a year and she's yet to introduce one agent. And I said, Bree, listen, talk to just one agent that you've sold a deal. Your next deal, if it comes up, talk to them and just say, hey, listen, are you open to hear why I'm with EXP? That's all I want you to say. She did that, got me on the phone with them. And this is a decent agent who's with Berkshire Hathaway. He can't cap, but he does about $5 million a year. And he's open to look at the information. I don't know if he'll come in or not, but that's a shot, right? It's a percentage. And she was blown away how easy it was. So that's the other category, right? Agents that you have done deals with, always bring it up after the deal. Never bring it up during the deal or when you're negotiating or any of that. You just don't want that part to get weird. But if it goes really well, and obviously you close the transaction with them, then say, hey, listen, let's celebrate. Let's get together. I'd like to share with you about EXP. How much do you know about EXP? Everybody has a different script, and you can get a reference point from the Team Disruptor on Facebook. They have a bunch of different scripts, but I'll go over a couple of them of what I use. But anyway, so back to the list. So that's the second, people you've done deals with. Then you've got social media. I'm a big LinkedIn fan. I've got 19,000 real estate agents on my LinkedIn that I'll connect with X amount every day. And then I'll send an email and see how much that they have heard about EXP, or if they're open to explore, if we could show them how they could make more money, with our brokerage, whatever your format is on that message, because it's a numbers game. If I send out maybe 50, maybe I only get a couple of conversations. But again, over time, when I build that up, I can send out 10, 20, 30 messages at a time and just say, hey, listen, how's your real estate going this year? How was COVID? Because again, this is over a 4-year process, but that's a big deal. Social media. So I'm a big LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, you guys know all about them, TikTok, whatever it is that you want to focus on. Building relationships with real estate agents, those are a way that you can spread out the country. And the one that I got back to that I used early on, and I found one of my very best agents, and that's basically asking a good friend. So this was years ago, and Kendra's met her as well as Tony, but Angie McKay, she does about 16 million a year out of a small West Texas town. And she was with Keller Williams for 16 or 17 years. And so I didn't know her, but a good friend of mine named Sean Holcomb, who I played college football with, I asked him in a conversation, hey, listen, I need a good real estate agent in that area. Who do you know? He goes, oh, my girlfriend is with Keller Williams. I said, perfect. Can I get a call with her? I want to talk to her about real estate. You can do that with every friend, every family in every area, not only where you live, but it could be in California or New York or in Mexico City or wherever. Ask friends of yours and family members, who do they know that's a high producing real estate agent or someone that's just in real estate in those different marketplaces. Jot their name down. Then you can go and Google, you can see how long, and like again in Texas, we have track, right? Texas Real Estate Commission, as you do in your state. You can see how long they've been licensed. You can see what their production levels are if you want to go that route. Get on Facebook or LinkedIn, find a little bit about them to see what type of connection that you can have with them. So when you make a phone call, it's not weird. You know a little bit about them, like you've done a little bit of research. I'm telling you, I did that, started doing that again today. And I got 7 really good leads that I'm going to call tomorrow from friends and different people that I run with, that maybe one of them was their cousin just got the real estate license. But again, it's a conversation and you never know what that person leads you to. Remember that. I'm not opposed to getting brand new agents, because that brand new agent may have a whale. They may know a Tony Camilleri or a Kendra Pack that's going to lead to hundreds and hundreds. So remember, it's a numbers game. So I want to chat with everyone I can. So that's how you make a list. And that part is very vital. And it's an ongoing active list. And if you just have it in your head or your phone, you're probably not going to do as well as someone that jots it down and has a system in place, whether it be digitally or on paper, because you want to have that active working list. So now that we have a list, we're going to want to expose, right? That's the next step, is you want to expose them. However you're going to make a call to try to expose them to the opportunity. Now, as far as the scripts go, I kind of manufactured my own, and there's a couple of different scripts, right? If you have someone on social media, I try to schedule a time. I give them enough information about EXP in the email, or I'm sorry, in the message. And then if they are interested, then I say, when is a good time? We can have a quick 5 to 10 minute combo, and I'll give you a few minute rundown, and we can see if it's a win-win. And so if they respond and say, yeah, I can do it Tuesday at 3 o'clock, we set the scheduled time. And so then I will go through my script with you in just a second. So that's one way, right? That's the social media. If it's from somebody that's a referral, and I'm going to spit it out, but you want to jot down and practice what you say before you end up doing it, or you'll just sound silly. You know, if I was working with Kendra, I would say, hey, listen, let me make a couple of practice calls. I'm going to be calling, you know, a few of these referrals or these agents I used to work with. I just want to sound normal. And when I say normal, is that sometimes people get into recruiting mode and they like put their recruiting hat on and they're like, oh, I've got to be all this and that. And no, you don't. You have to be yourself. The red flag will come up if not, and they go, wait, this is weird. No, I'm shutting down. I'm not listening to anything you say. So you have to be normal. And so if Kendra and me were great friends, and she wasn't in real estate, let's say, and she goes, oh, I have a good friend of mine, Tony, who's in real estate. Because I asked her again from the list, who do you know that's in real estate? Oh, Tony. Okay, great. Hey, Tony. And I'm going to tell him, hey, listen, we have a mutual friend, Kendra Pack, and she had nothing but great things to say about you. I'm going to compliment him. You know why? Because he'll like me if I compliment him. It's human nature. And hey, Kendra had nothing but great things to say about you. Said you are blowing up real estate in Michigan. She said that you're with, whatever, Keller Williams, and you've been in real estate for 10, 15 years. I mean, how's it been going with COVID? How's it? I mean, it's easy to spark up a conversation, right? And they will say, yo, it's going well, whatever. Well, listen, the reason for my call is she said you might be open to hear about a brand new brokerage that is breaking every record and actually paying agents more money in not only their split, but also in stock. Would you be open to that, or are you 100% satisfied with where you are? And that way we can then give them an out, right? No, I'm 100% satisfied. Or most people will say, well, no, I could hear about it because the grass is always greener on the other side, right? So, but if they're 100% loyal to their broker, as we know, some folks are loyal to a fault and they will never look, then you're not going to get them anyway. You're not going to have the convo. So maybe you just put them on a follow-up and then you like some of their stuff, or you just keep, you know what I mean? So, but that's my script that I came up with and I practice, and now I can spit it out anytime. That's your second avenue from the standpoint of calling someone that's a referral. Agents you've done a deal with. Hey, John, we just closed 123 Main Street. I got to tell you, I've still closed a ton of deals this year in the last 10 years. I mean, gosh, we've done a lot. And I got to tell you, that was one of the smoothest and the best transactions of an agent that I've worked with. And you don't say it if it's not true, right? If it was a headache the whole time. But if it is, you find, again, I'm complimenting them. I'm telling them how great it was. They'd probably like me because it was a great transaction on both sides. And then you're able to then say, hey, listen, you know, I'm with EXP. Did you ever hear about any of the ins and outs? I really feel like it's blessed me and my family. And I feel like I should pass it forward and share the information, with agents, because I'm finding out a lot of folks don't even know really about our company, but they think they do. Would you be open for me to share a a handful of minutes with you as far as our company and yada, yada, yada. So again, I'm just broaching the subject. I'm finding my own script to get them to take a listen to 2 to 3 minutes, which I'm going to do for you in just a second. That's another script, right? So again, if I'm working with Kendra and I want to get good at the agent attraction game, I'm going to practice it, because again, when you're a professional, you're good at what you do and you don't sound bad from the standpoint of it being weird. Like you can't be, odd. You can't be weird. It can't be a pitch. I hate that, right? Hey, give me your sales pitch. You shouldn't sound like that, even though it's maybe information that you said a million times and you could do it in your sleep. You still have to have passion, excitement, energy, all of that without being salesy. So hopefully that makes sense. And then let's see, I did the social media and calling agents, that's easy, right? Listen, John, we've been friends for 10 years or we worked at the other brokerage. Listen, I know EXP is probably not for you, but give me 20 minutes. Let me show you the ins and outs and line up a one-on-one and do a Zoom. Make them look at it. I can't tell you how many examples that I have from people that thought they knew, and then they sat through a full presentation and say, this is totally different than what I thought. I mean, they were blown away by it. You got to remember that the presentation is key if they see it from A to Z. You can't let them judge the opportunity by just a small smidgen of maybe what somebody said in passing, that it's a virtual brokerage. That's not, when I say, if someone says, oh yeah, I hear you're a virtual brokerage, like that doesn't even compute to me what EXP really is, right? So anyway, so some of the scripts. So, and here's the deal. So when they agree, if I'm, first off, let's say that I call like an agent that I'm calling, I want to give them a quick couple of minutes, but then I want to set a time for a presentation. I don't want to take advantage of trying to talk to them 15, 20 minutes. I'd rather schedule a time. Like now that my wife is doing a lot of sales and, we get recruited all of the time, and every agent that calls, they call to schedule a time so then they could show her the presentation of Coldwell Banker, Remax, or they bring her in the office of Keller Williams. Now, of course, she doesn't go, but a lot of times we listen because I want to know what the team leaders are saying about their brokerage and how they're recruiting. But that's what they do. They don't do just small bullet points. They do the full presentation and they schedule a time to do it. All right, so let me go through now the script, right? So the presentation, that's really next, right? You got your message / your script, and now you're going to do a quick tidbit of information. Now, some people will tell you don't give them anything. I'm not that way. It's like when Scott Lewis, shared the opportunity with me, he gave me bullet points, and so I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. It wasn't too long, but it wasn't too little. If somebody was trying to recruit me, and you can take it yourself from the standpoint if this would work on you, and they say, hey, listen, I want you to look at this, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but you'll be excited in only a couple of sentences. The percentage of chances of me looking at that is very few and far between, because there's not enough meat for me to get excited about. So you got to make sure that you pique the interest of people to go, okay, that's worth my time. Yes, I'll take the next step. If not, then they just won't ever take your call again. And if you over talk, it's like if you give them too much information, now they think they can draw the lines and know everything about EXP because you talk too much. So the point in this is very important, is that you give them enough, sizzle, but you don't give them the full steak. And so that's the key. And you got to know how much is too much and how much is too little, right? And that's trial and error. So I'm going to go through what I do every single time. And so this way you guys, and one, it's recorded, and because a lot of folks go, hey, well, send me that script. I worked on it. I don't write it down, but obviously I tweak it and then I change it and then I just do it over and over. So that's why I can just do it. So I'm not the best at writing stuff down and sending it out, but I'm glad it's recorded, because then you can, go back and you can listen to it and make it your own. Not that it's the best, but I do feel like it gives a lot of information in a very short period of time, and that it makes people watch. I have a very high percentage of people to check out the information. Now, so this is a lot on LinkedIn, right? Because I've already gone through a lot of my warm market. I've already gone through, and now I'm back to asking people I know. But so this is like if somebody emails me back or messages me back going, yeah, I'm free tomorrow at 2:00. So we have a scheduled time. So, and I'm only asking for 5 minutes. And so usually those 5 minutes end up turning into 20 to 25, but I just always ask them, as far as the 5 minutes, to begin with. So if it's Kendra, I'll say, and so Kendra, we have a call. And so I'm calling her. By the way, I always call on time. I mean, very seldom do I miss it, but and again, I'm not perfect, but the point is that if you say it's scheduled at 2, don't call it 2:05 because you said 5 minutes and now you're already past the time. It's just a hidden objection. You want to try to limit as many hidden objections as you can. Also a note, and again, making a reference point of that, I go back and I look at some of Kendra's Facebook. I Google her brokerage. I know a little bit of information about her, so I'm prepared because a lot of times agents will ask, well, why did you call me? Like, why me? And you want to say, oh, well, you know what? I saw you were an entrepreneur, that, you were with a mortgage company. And so I know mortgage officers make great real estate. You got to make sure, and information is so readily to have. That's just laziness if you don't, and you're not prepared. If that comes up, you're not going to be prepared. So that's just a quick side note. So I'm calling Kendra and I say, hey, Kendra, how are you? This is Randy with EXP. I appreciate you taking time, because I know in today's time we all are crazy busy. So thank you very much for taking time. I thank them again. Why? One, I'm genuine about that because I know people's time are valuable. Number two, they will like me more, and I want to be liked, because if I'm liked, I can sell, and if I can sell, they'll watch the opportunity, right? Because that's my whole goal. So I thank her for the time, and then I say, hey, Kendra, if you don't mind, let me ask you a few questions, because I'd like to better arm myself and share with you, if this could be a win-win. And just so you know, I know for a fact that EXP is not for everyone, just like Keller Williams isn't for everyone, and just like Coldwell Banker. So the last thing I'm going to do is pressure you or whatever, but I am going to get you some information. But it will help me if I know a little bit about your production, Mark. I mean, I know that you've been in real estate for 15 years. Are you more of a $2 to $5 million producer? Or are you more of a 5 to 10? Or do you typically sell 12 to 15 or higher? So that's vital for me to know, because I'm going to talk about the icon agent, or maybe I'm not, because again, that's a big bullet point. So if they say, well, I'm about a 5 to $7 million, dollar producer. Last year was a little light or a little better because of COVID, whatever it may be. Okay, great. Because these are leads all across the nation. Okay, great. Well, let me ask you, is there anything that you just don't really like about your brokerage? Or because I can also get a temperature, because some folks, and some of the best ones that I've recruited, have said that they love their broker. There's no reason for them to look. It's not about that. It's about talking. The more they answer questions and the more engaging they are, the better chance I have to build rapport. Remember, and some of you may be seeing some of my trainings, we're building a bridge, right? We're building a bridge of rapport, so then I can get them to walk over that bridge to watch basically the video, or I do a one-on-one presentation. So that bridge is these questions and us having engagement and seeing their personality. If they only answer one-word questions, or they're not very engaging, I know how to tailor make that a little bit. So I'm asking them, and maybe they say, you know what, well, we don't get leads, or we don't, I don't really like my split, or what have you. Hey, if they said something about the split, hey, do you mind me asking? I mean, I know you're a $5 to $7 million producer. Do you start at a 70-30 and then you work your way up? Well, no, I can't cap. I'm at 90. And some of this you'll know, obviously, with what broker, right? I can't cap. I'm just asking filler questions. When I say filler, I mean, they're information, that meat and potatoes that I need to know. But at the end of the day, it's more so to where I'm not just jumping right into EXP, because I want to know a little bit about what they're after, what their brokerage, what's their end game. Hey, what's the goal? I mean, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I mean, are you planning on, breaking off, building your own team? You already have a team. Are y'all looking to expand your team? What's the goal with you in real estate? Because again, most people are not going to ask them that. Their brokerage is not going to ask them that. They just want to collect commission for them. So I'm asking some of those questions. So depending on how, that well, and then I may spin off a few more questions depending that. But the biggest script part is what I'm about to say. And this is what I say every time. So I've asked a few questions. And so I'll say, hey, Kendra, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to give you some of the highs and the lows, the ins and outs of EXP Realty. That way well, first off, I'll ask, how much do you know about EXP Realty? And some of them say, well, I've heard you're a virtual, whatever. And so I'll let them answer that. And then I say, listen, what I'd love to do is give you a quick 2-minute rundown on EXP, from who we are, what we do, a little bit about our high points as far as what we offer, and then we can see if it's a win-win and if you want to take the next step in regards to getting information. Does that sound fair? They say yes. Then I tell my brief story. It's like, okay, great. I've been in real estate for 24 years. I've seen all of the big brokerages. I've seen the boutiques and the spinoffs. And really, in all honesty, a lot of them are the same. They just cut the pie up a little bit different. When a friend of mine showed me EXP 4 years ago, I got to tell you, I got extremely excited because he shared with me how they compensate agents differently. And so when I took a look at it, it's really blessed and changed our family's life the last 4 years. So let me give you some statistics. EXP is the fastest growing, and notice my tone, right? And I slow down. EXP is the fastest growing real estate brokerage in the history of real estate. Nobody has grown as fast as we have. In the last handful of years, we've broken every single record. Prior to us, to give you a reference point, Keller Williams in the 90s, 1 year grew at 54%. Kendra, last year, we grew at 201%. We are now in every 50 state. We also are on 5 continents and 10 countries. We are blistering it, and we're only 12 years old. Now, let me share with you why agents like yourself should take a look, and why some agents that have 800, 900 agents rolled their whole team over to EXP. And all across the country, folks are breaking their own sales records because of our formula. The reason why that folks like you should take a look is we're agent owned. What that means is we're traded on the NASDAQ under EXPI. And today I think we're at $128 a share. And so when you sell a home that you are with your own brokerage, you get your split and that's it. With us, you get a healthy 80-20 split, but oh, by the way, we give you shares of stock. And so there's some folks that all they've done is done exactly what they used to do in their old brokerage for the last 3 or 4 years, and they've become EXP millionaires just based on the stock, because we give you ownership. Glenn Sanford, the owner of the company, decided a long time ago that he wanted to make sure that he compensated the real estate agents and the brokers for what they do. And so he gives ownership. That's the first reason. The second reason a lot of them come over is that we're a virtual office. And what that means is we have offices, we just don't have brick and mortar. The days of folks going into an office to talk to a real estate agents are very few and far between. Phone time and uptime do not mean the same thing as they did 20 years ago. In fact, NAR, National Association of Realtors, stated that 92% of folks found their real estate agent, guess where? Online, their agent or their home online. And you know this, with you selling homes, aren't they more educated today? They already know the photos, they've already seen the tax rate, they've already know the schools, they know everything about it in regards to before they actually go see the property. And so we have an online virtual office that you could actually plug into 60 hours of training, but it's faster. Everything is like Netflix versus Blockbuster, because again, the days of the brick and mortar, someone has to pay for it. It's typically the agent. So we can pass information faster, such as COVID. We just came out of that. Do you realize that we were one of the very first brokerages to show folks how to do a virtual showing, how to deal with clients, how to make people more comfortable, because it was instant information. In fact, our company broke every real estate record that couple of months due to the fact that we're so quick in regards to getting information. So that's the second reason. The third reason is we have what's called a rev share. And we also have lead generation, and we have a CRM that you're not going to have to pay for that we give you, but we have what's called revenue share. And instead of paying a team leader a healthy salary, if you ended up introducing somebody, whether it be here locally in San Antonio or where you live in Michigan, you get paid, you get compensated from the company side because you referred them. It's a line item, kind of like a referral fee. And there's some folks that make some incredible amounts of income on that. So let me ask you this, Kendra, did anything I say intrigue you enough to look at the full presentation? And then 99.9% of the time they say yes. And so here's what you do. You can do it 2 ways. One, I do some one-on-ones. I will set up a Zoom and I'll schedule a time and I'll do the PowerPoint presentation for them. Or I'll send them to the modelexplain.com. It's Brent Gove. There's I forgot what's called GoPro. I can't remember what I'm signed up for, but you can do it and you can see if they watched it. But the modelexplain.com is a 42-minute, and I tell them that it's robust. And the reason it's robust is that we lay all the cards on the table. You're going to get to see everything, how much stock, what our CRMs look like, how much, as far as the lead generation, how much revenue share that you would get, everything across the board about our brokerage, all our fees. So I'll ask them, again, depending on which way I go on setting it up, or I send them the video, then I'll ask them, when do you think you can watch it? And then I text them. If it's the CRM or the video, I will text them, and I'll also line them up for our virtual world, a free tour. And I'll send the same text, which Tony has, by the way. So y'all just ask him. He can send you the text that I send, and all I do is change the name. And then I ask them, when do you think that you can check it out? And I'll put you on my calendar. And so a lot, like today, a couple of folks, I got to follow up tomorrow. It's a Friday. I don't pinpoint a time. I will say, okay, I'll touch base with you sometime tomorrow. And I found that without scheduling an exact time has worked a little better. And again, still some go MIA, but I've got a couple of calls that I'll follow up tomorrow. And then when I follow up with them, that's the next step, right? So that's the script from what I say. Then the last step is follow up, right? So I'll put in my calendar as far as again, this is pretty, it's not very robust, and I should be better at it. I'm not. I mean, some folks are really good at putting everything in like some type of system and they drip on them. I don't as well, and I should, but I'll just put on my calendar, and then I'll just see on my follow-up call, like when I'm talking to folks, like let's see here. Like this was on February 1st. I don't know if you can see it if it comes through, but on February 1st, I had Grace Foster and Jamie Meeks. They were my follow-up call. And so then I just know then from my notes, when I pulled it up, I'm like, okay, Grace Foster, I know where she lived and all of the ins and outs. And then I call her and say, hey, Grace, tell me what your thoughts are. I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts. A lot of times they will text me afterwards, that particular person, Grace Foster. I mean, when I chatted with her, she's ready to go, but she needs to close a deal because the agency or brokerage that she's with, she gets way bad on her. Like she has to close this deal on the 15th, or she'll end up only, getting like 30 or 40% opposed to more of her commission. So she's ready to roll. But at that point on the follow-up, when I call them, usually it's questions. Hey, I want verification on this or that. And that's when I do a 3-way call. A lot of times what you've got to learn is that you may know the information, but the prospect has already heard from you and they put you in a category. So if you could let Kendra do your 3-way call, even though Kendra would say the exact same thing as you, it comes across better. And that's what I want, is I just want them to sign up. Now on the same flip side, I also don't do 3-ways just to do 3-ways. If I know that I could end up getting them started, then I just get them started. I don't do it unless they, like one, I had Christy Davidson, who was with Keller Williams for 21 years. She was a team leader, and a lady was trying to keep delaying. I said, you remind me of a friend of mine, Christy Davidson, who it took her 6 months to come over, and she kicks herself every day. Are you free? Do you want to hear her story? It's pretty amazing. Anyway, so Christy got her to move forward faster from a component that I needed her to move forward, not just doing a 3-way just because. I'm not opposed to 3-ways, and I always use 3-ways, but sometimes you don't need them if you can get them. But if you're not getting them and you're talking too much and you feel like you're selling, you need another component. It's kind of like, you use it as an arrow in your quiver, right? Like because something else didn't work, you need that. Use it as a ammunition to where it can help you in regards to what you're trying to do. And then you edify, right? Kendra or Tony or whoever it is, and then they could just tell their story or they can let you know whatever it is that your client needs to hear to get them past that. So let's see, answer your question. Okay, so that's really it. You make your list. I shared with that the message in regards to when you call those folks, you got to script out your own your own message, and then your sizzle, which is what I did for you, which is a 2.5 minute deal, and then whatever presentation you're going to get them on, and then your follow-up. So that is all that I do, and that's what I do consistently. Here's what I challenge every single person, whether they are full-time real estate, they're doing 50 million, I don't care how much they're doing. You can squeeze 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week. That's 2 hours a week. And if you did that consistently, week in, week out, you would sign agents up, because right now it's too good a deal. I'll give you an example. So we do a lot of leads from the standpoint of real estate. And so I got a call today. I take a lot of the leads because I'm decent on the phone and asking questions and all that. My wife's good at showing it. So this one couple is looking for 100 acres. They want to develop it. And so I was doing my research. Well, I found a lady that I had chatted with a couple of years ago. And actually I know her well, and I hadn't followed up in a while. So I called her and I said, hey, I got a client that's interested in your listing. She's like, okay, great. And I was like, hey, how's it going? She's like, oh yeah, it's going good. I'm tired. And hey, how's EXP? And she had no idea from the stock. And I said, Leah, you are not going to believe this when I tell you this. If you would have joined, because she's about a $16 to $20 million producer, and she has a team of 4 or 5. So she would be the rainmaker. I told her, I said, Leah, you're not going to believe this. If you would have joined 2.5 years ago when I sat down with you and your husband, you would be an EXP millionaire today, because you would have been an icon agent, and the stock at that point was $6 to $10. A year ago, it was only at $14 or $20. And then all of the transactions with the 5%, I told her, I said, you would have been an EXP millionaire. And I said, I want you to take my apology because I didn't make you look at it. And so then she goes, are you kidding me? So I sent her a screenshot and I said, listen, you have got to look at this. This is going to change your life. And she goes, oh my gosh. So anyway, after 40 minutes, I was telling Tony the story. She's looking at the information again, and we're going to meet up and we're going to chat with her. I don't know if she'll come over or not. But my point is that the confidence that you should have in EXP right now, if it's not at an all-time high, you can get agents because you can be bold. You can be bold. You can, again, you don't want to be an ass, right? But you can be bold, because think about like back when me and Kendra and Tony and I saw some of the other guys, Milton, on there and stuff. But I mean, the stock was at pennies. Like, it was not even traded on a real stock exchange, right? When real saying NASDAQ or whatever, it's a penny stock, and we got beat up bad, right? And so now people are looking at this and saying this could be the next Dell computer, split 5 times in the 90s. And I'm not saying or quoting or saying that it will do that. I'm just saying some analysts are saying that it's a really hot buy, because it's not just based on real estate. It's based on Verbella and Success Magazine. And they're looking for other announcements that they're apparently coming out with that are other linear or tiers that could end up creating more income for the company. So what my point is that I don't think that it's a mystery the stock's going to be strong for what they have on that market cap, billions of dollars on market cap. So you can be bold and you can be aggressive, and because it's not a mystery now if this company is going to make it. It's just a matter of how fast, we're going to get to 100,000 agents. So I say that because hopefully that gives you a little confidence to make your list and to call the people you were scared about and be consistent on it. Because in 6 months, I have a good friend of mine, and Kendra knows him as well, Pat Hayes. Pat Hayes started a year before me, and our revenue share, we'll hit probably 40 to 45 in the next, a month or two. I mean, we're obviously doing fairly well, but not compared to him. His was 145. That dude has got he's millions in stock. And he was not even involved in EXP more than 5 years ago. His whole life changed in 5 years. So what could yours be like in the next 4 or 5 now that we're ramping up and have incredible momentum? So I think the time is now, as far as for you to get rolling, because now it's not a mystery. So anyway, that's what I got. Kendra, I don't know if you're in charge or if Tony's left, but we could take some questions if you want. I mean, obviously I didn't want to go super long, but I wanted to give you guys meat and potatoes on something that you could go do tomorrow.
Oh my God. Thank you, Randy. You are always amazing. You are a great trainer. As far as summing it up, I mean, under 30 minutes. That's awesome. Does anyone have any questions? And I can go last.
I had a question. I actually had 2 really quick questions. One, Randy, first of all, congratulations on everything. It really sounds like I just need to get a spouse, because you guys are just over there killing it.
I got one I'll sell.
Because I'm trying to, do both sides. No, but so my 2 questions are: 1, do you use the wealth chart? And then 2, can you talk a little more about what you sent in email? I've never done the email route.
Yeah, so on the wealth chart, yes, I do. It's weird though on the wealth chart now that it's FLQAs. Before it was just agents, and so I haven't really figured out exact. So I got them all up there, but then some don't count. So it's kind of confusing. And again, if you've been filling out the well chart, but I track my numbers all the time. Every month I see what my growth is. So like last month, it was pretty exciting. We grew at almost 20%, which was pretty solid. And obviously this time of the year, it's pretty big. But so that's that. Yes, I do the well chart because I think that if you don't track it, you don't know where you are. So it's hard to grow. The second thing on the email, I basically scripted out on, like, after I connected to somebody on LinkedIn, they have to accept you. So I'll say, something, hey, look forward to chatting about real estate. Here's to a prosperous 20, look, I don't remember exactly. I'll have to pull it up and I can send it to you because I have an assistant that does that. But then I basically say, hey, here's to a 2021. How's it going? I'll ask a couple of questions. And then 3 or 4 days later, that's when I ask, hey, listen, have you ever heard about EXP Realty? We're the fastest growing real estate. And then I basically scripts out and says, we give you ownership and I'd love to chat with you and show you how we could double your business like we have other agents. Are you open to just a 5-minute conversation? But again, that's easy. I can send it exactly what I have because we send it to the same, the same script to everybody after we build that little bit of rapport. You can also do it on Facebook. The great thing about Facebook is you could actually, every real estate agent, you could just send an instant message to and just say, hey, our company's blowing up. What if I could give you stock? Would you be interested? I mean, anything like that, just to open the combo. But I'll send that to Tony and Kendra or you or whatever, and you can copy it if you want.
Thanks, Randy. We have a question from Nina.
Oh, I'm just seeing now all these questions. Yeah. Or no. What's the question?
You're on mute, Nina.
Oh, CRM Grow. That's what it's called. Yeah, I'm paying my $9.95 CRM Grow. I like that because you can see when they watch it. I think that's a good deal. Oh, I see Nina. It says question.
Yep, that's me. Hey, how you doing? Thanks so much for it.
No problem.
I was looking forward to this, looking to grow a team myself. I just had a quick question. I know you talked a lot about established agents already, them joining the team. Do you also recruit new agents? And then if so, what is your main, I guess, talking points in recruiting new agents?
Yeah, so
that aren't already established.
Yeah. So on new agents, I do have new agents. In fact, my wife just became a mentor. So then we could keep it all in house, right? Because she knows how to do all the paperwork and all of that. But on new agents, I'm very, very blunt in regards to see if they're going to run with it or are they really looking for someone to hold their hand? Because we all know the agents that doesn't matter what brokerage they're at, they're going to figure it out and they're deal makers. They're going to go out and do 2, 3, 4, 5 million, right? But if they need someone to hold their hand, I let them know, listen, if you don't jump on the world, if you don't really seek out the information, you're going to struggle. But if you are a go-getter and you will follow direction, because I'm not your quote unquote mentor, you're going to get that on the world. And the mentor that I'll say, my wife, she's going to help you with how to write a contract, but not how to prospect. I mean, she'll give you some ideas. So I really set the stage on that. But I got to tell you, I've got a couple of really good agents that are brand new, that they're just a center of influence. And we love questions like, hey, I've got 3 listings. How, what do I do if I don't have a sign? Those are the good questions, right? So hopefully just be very transparent, because the one thing that happens with EXP is that a lot of folks sign up brand new agents. They don't have the success that they think they'll have, and they leave and they say, yeah, it's EXP, wasn't a good deal, because it wasn't set up properly. But I think new agents are big because think about some of the agents that are older and they're building a team in regards to revenue share. They're going to retire. So I want to have some new young blood that are selling real estate, that are excited and passionate about that. Not just and I think it's just a good mix.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
I was thinking that. I was thinking about recruiting a lot of new people.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Just make sure the expectations are set for sure.
Right.
Okay. I have a question. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Randy. This is Don. I have speak to a fair amount of agents for referrals, and I have an assistant that helps get the appointments and things like that. My biggest problem is I talk too much.
Yeah.
I talk too much, and they ask questions and I answer the questions, and I'm used to being an instructor and teaching investing, and I'm accustomed, and my whole world has always been in front of people speaking. So
Sure.
I have a tendency to talk too much.
Right.
So how can I stop that?
Well, give me a scenario, because we all have talked to agents, and listen, somebody asked me a question, depending on the question, depending on it was whether I answer it or not. You know what I mean? So I don't, yeah. When you say you talk too much, based on who says you talk too much, do you feel like you talk too much, or you're not getting people to sign? I mean, how do you measure? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking too much, and people are, I think they're making their decisions based on things I say, as opposed to being able to get them to a presentation.
Okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, depending on the scenario, like if they say, for instance, like you gave them some bullet points, because I gave meat and potato, or you know, some sizzle, right? Like to get them to watch it. If they say, for instance, well, how does you know, your team structure work? You know, I always refer to, like, well, listen, let's see if you like the concept. What I'd like to do, what I'd like to see happen, what I'd like for you to do is look at the information. We could do it. If you're free right now, I could set it up real quick and I could do a presentation. I just want you to get all of your questions answered in the context of our program, opposed to me just answering questions, because that's how agents have felt the best in regards to gathering information, that it's set up in a proper manner where you can get all of the information in the context in which that it needs to be, you know, received. Is that fair? Can we do that? But remember, but see how my tone and my, like, I'm able to, but what I'll try to do is accommodate them. So if you're free and they're free, hey, let's jump on. I can do an EXP presentation in 10 minutes. I mean, I could click through it pretty quick and get all the bullet points. And that's still better than you just trying to wing it and answer their questions. But I would try to defer their questions. And if you noticed, on my quick little sizzle, I set it up, said, hey, listen, I'd like to give you a quick couple of minute rundown. And if you like what you see, then we can see if we go to the next step. So I'm still in control a little bit about that. So I'm not getting into maybe question and answer as much as maybe you are, based on my front end. So maybe that helps a little bit. I mean,
yeah. I think, and maybe what I need to do is sit down and do some of those sizzle bullet points like you mentioned earlier, and just have those in front of me and stick to the bullet points instead of really answering questions like you just said.
Well,
not answering questions.
So if you're talking to an agent and it ends up getting into question and answer right away, you're not gonna get very many to say yes, because you're not in control. Although you're knowledgeable and you probably answer the question right, they're not in a format to receive it, because a lot of times, and you know this, people that ask questions, when you're answering the question, they're thinking about question number 2, I mean, or 3, and they're not really even listening. So what you want to do is go, all right, I'm teaching a class. Let me stand at my pulpit. Let me give you 2 or 3 minutes, and then let's see if you like what I, then you can answer a few of those questions and then get them onto the deal. But I'm in control 99% of the time, meaning that because I set it up that way. I ask a few questions, even if they don't want to answer some of the questions. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Hey, I tell you what, why don't I give you that's why we're on the call, right? Let me give you a couple of minutes about EXP, all the highs, and we'll see if you like what I say. And if you don't, cool. And if you do, then hey, then we'll go to the next step. And I always use the term a tour guide. Listen, I'm your tour guide on this deal. You know, I'm just going to be a tour guide. I'm going to show you the way. And if you like it, great. And if not, at least you know what you're saying no to. Hopefully that was helpful in regards to, I think if you set your parameters of what you're going to share with them, you won't get in a bind, because you're not opening it up to questions on the front end.
And I think that's my problem. They're controlling the conversation more than I am.
Do those bullet points, like I said, re-listen to it, write those bullet points down, the stock, the ownership, and then you'll be amazed at how many people go, you know what, I am intrigued. I want to check it out. And then you're off the hook, and then you're able to send them to the video or do the one-on-one.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Anyone else? Okay, so Randy, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Amazing training. I just want before I even ask my question, type 1 in the chat box if you are excited about recruiting. All right, all right, all right. That's what I'm talking about. So, for the older people, the vets, you mention something about stock earlier?
Right.
It doesn't apply to everybody, but there are quite a few veterans on this call, and that's veterans meaning what is it, 2018?
Yeah.
2019?
2019, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so prior to 2019, can you explain, just give them some bullet points? They can go into the world on their own tomorrow, but just let them know that they may have left some money on the table, but when that transition happened, when we got a new financial law firm, which was Stanley Morgan.
Yeah. So when you go on to ShareWorks now, you can click on it and it'll show you what your stocks are worth today, as well as what your future is, right? Well, before 2019, they had another company, Broadridge, I think is what it's called. But anyway, they would take this isn't for agent attraction. This is only if you sold and it was your 5% or your first transaction when you first got started with EXP. So if you go onto the world under accounting and you say, hey, listen, can you email me my first transaction that was with the other company before y'all got with ShareWorks and Morgan Stanley, they will give you a whole document or a whole link that'll basically you can open up, and it shares with you how to go over there. Like we had, I don't know, Michelle had 600 and something shares that we didn't even know about. So think about this. This was today. We got fired up because it was 600 and some change, but 600 times 128, that's $76,000 that we, holy cow, let's move that over into our stock. So anyway, a lot of folks, they didn't know that, but go on there because it doesn't go away and they'll just transfer it over. It takes either 3 to 5 days or 5 to 7 days to go into your ShareWorks, but that's kind of cool. But I can tell you guys, and again, that's for the older folks, but for the newer folks or folks that, you know, the stock and all, I really believe that we're at the beginning, though. I think we'll have these same stories in 3 or 4 years going, oh my gosh, I wish I would have bought it at 125 because it's split 3 times or whatever it may be. I really believe we're at the beginning. So anyway, hopefully that answered it, Kendra, just jump on the EXP world, go to accounting. And if you sold back in 17, 18, they can give you an email of they'll tell with you what your shares are. And then they'll walk you through how you can transfer that over.
Great, great, great.
No, the split is coming.
Yeah, the split. No, I know it's coming, but I'm saying, I think back in the 90s, I was selling land and I was selling in Austin, right by Round Rock, Dell Computers, and it split 5 times in the 90s. If somebody would have invested $5,000, they would have been a multi-millionaire because it went up and split 5 times. All I'm saying is that I think that there'll be stories on this that, we'll wish that we probably would have talked to more agents, but I really think that it's so agent eccentric right now because of the shares of the stock. That is so, so big. So anyway, hopefully you guys got some good info. And, again, I'm pretty simple, but I think if you just follow that, I just know that there's agents that are looking for a reason to leave their brokerage, and we have all of the answers. It's a better deal. It's better for them. And if you don't believe that, you'll never bring anyone over. But I truly believe they could have a life-changing event happen over here because you never know who you find, right? You never know if you find a Kendra Pack or a Tony Camilleri or, a Pat Hayes, or something like that. And then plus you don't know what's going to happen with the stock. But I do know if you don't do anything, you'll be in your same boat wishing that you would have, and never make the same mistake over and over again. So like if you're doing something, you're not getting any leverage, talk to somebody and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. And you tweak it. And then once you get it down, then you do it over and over and over and over and over again. And it ends up really paying real well for you. All right.
Milton, you're recording this. Where can we have access to the recording after it's
Yeah, I think Tony's got it on the cloud, so I think he's going to send it out to y'all.
Yeah, we're not going to give it to you unless you enroll an agent.
Okay.
You gotta show me some love. You gotta show me you want to do this, and I'll give it to you.
That's funny. All right, guys.
So,
Well, I
okay.
appreciate y'all's
Thank you.
time. Sure.
All right, thank you guys. Hopefully we can do this again. I will make sure that this is exposed to everybody for a teachable moment. There was some lot of good nuggets in here from, three-way calls, not talking too much, the power of duplication, posture. And guys, we got to own this. We are in a great position. We can be bold. And even if you don't have your own success story, there's people on this line, on this webinar right now that have stories. Borrow, steal, use our stories. And that's what it's about. Facts tell, stories sell. And we're here to help you grow. Our goal is 1,000 agents by the end of the year. And with your help, Randy, we will get there.
Awesome.
All right. So thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy, and guys, take care.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you guys.